All right, welcome to the Mental Health Toolbox podcast. Today we have a special treat for you. We are talking with Soribel Martinez. She is a LCSW, MBA, and CEO who started a multi-million dollar practice with her specialized framework. And she's also the author of Unbreakable and her new coming book, Private Multi-Million Dollar Private Practice. She'll be sharing with us tips and tricks today to scale your private practice to $1 million+ So, without further ado, let's meet soon to be Dr. Martinez. Hey, Sorabel, thank you so much for joining us today. It's
Thank
an
you so
honor and
much for the
privilege.
invite.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you on. What a wonderful, wonderful service you are doing for clinicians and therapists seeking to help more people, right? Because really being of service is what it's about. And the more
Yes,
people we are able to help, then the better off we all are. And in order to do that, we do have to scale, right? And you are an
yes,
expert in this area, which is why I'm excited to have you on to teach us how we can scale our practices and the different facets and methodologies around that. I know you have a special multi-million dollar framework that you have leveraged to grow your practice, and you coach other clinicians. And so just really excited to dive in. And maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about your background and what got you into this work of business coaching.
yes. Hey, everyone. Hi, Patrick. Thanks you so much for this invitation. I'm so excited to be here. Hi to my audience. Hi to your audience. I am also sharing on my social media platform. I am so excited to be here and sharing a little bit about my knowledge around building $1 million and beyond private practice. So, my name is Soribel Martinez. I am a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Connecticut. I am a business coach and consultant, helping other private practice owners to build $1 million private practice. And I like to say always, because this is about service, this is about us really making a great impact in the community and helping others. That $1 million, all it does is represent the amount of services that we're providing in the community. How are we impacting the economy? How we are creating job opportunities? And with that being said, I'm the author, the best-selling author of my book Unbreakable. You can see it right there. I see Patrick is scrolling
Yes.
down. My book Unbreakable is all about overcoming adversity. Especially in this book, I share my stories about overcoming not just one but two brain aneurysms in 2010 when I had brain surgery. And I share stories about becoming unbreakable, becoming overcoming adversity, how to really take the opportunity that when we are in difficult situation, we are in the middle of a crisis, we are in the middle of the storm. How do we find opportunities in those storms, right? Instead of giving up, how do we overcome? Because in business, we need to be resilient. That is the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. In business, you have to be resilient. It's one of the qualities that I really find that's very important for us if we want to scale to the next level. I also wrote the book, The Multi-Million Dollar Private Practice. This book is on pre-order, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. And this book is going to be launched coming up in May. And we're going to have a big party, big celebration, because the multi-million-dollar private practice framework is what has helped me get where I'm at right now in my private practice. And it's what I'm sharing in this book and how you can utilize the framework so you can also take your private practice to the next level, right? And in order for us to really build a kingdom, a queendom, a legacy, a successful business, a business that brings profit and revenue, we have to have skills. We need to have business skills and we have to have strategy. And one of the things that we know, right? Patrick, you went to
Mm,
social work school, and you
yes.
know that there was not one class on how to build a business.
What's wrong with that? Hopefully it's different now, but yeah, like that would have been helpful.
Actually, it's not. It's still therapy schools are still not teaching business in school. And one of my goals is to write that book and helping, hopefully, and the plan is to bring this book to different colleges, universities. I'm sharing it with students so they can begin building that mindset, right? Because here's the thing. We were not taught how to build a business. We were taught that we are here in the helping profession to help people. And to be honest, that is partly true, right? We
Mm,
chose this career. We chose what we do because we want to help others. We want to be of service. However, being of service doesn't mean that we have to be poor. It doesn't mean that we have to not make enough money, that we don't have to be leaders in the communities. And we can still do all of that and still be of service, right? And it's sad that I find social workers still making $25 an hour. Sometimes even less. School social workers, they begin at $42,000 in a year, $40,000. There is parts of the United States where social workers are making $38,000, right? And that put us in the poverty line.
mhm.
That put us in a situation where we should be applying for the same services that some of our clients are applying for. That is the reality. So the reason why I chose the mental health field is because I understand that mental health is really important. And when I was younger, I wanted to learn about my own family dysfunctions, and I wanted to be able to heal from those dysfunctions so I can be different in the world and I can really create a different life than more dysfunctions, right? And I'm still in that journey. I'm a therapist, but I have a therapist, I have a coach. I'm constantly in that journey of personal development. So you asked me why I chose this path. I chose this path because I was a school social worker earning $100,000 a year. It sounds like a lot of money, but it was not a lot of money for me, my son, and the dreams that I have for my child. And one of those dreams was that I wanted my son to go to private school. And the private school that my son was attending was eating a lot of that money that I was bringing home. So it
That
became
sounds
like I
familiar.
was not making enough, right? Yes, right. And then he wanted it to play the violin, and then he wanted to be in theater, and he wanted to do the things that he should be doing as a
Mm-hmm.
child. But I didn't have all the funds. And if I did, I was missing in other areas, right? I was being short in other areas. So in the summer of 2018, I decided that I was no longer going to be an employee for the meantime, that I was going to go part-time into private practice.
Mm-hmm.
But to my surprise, with the knowledge that I know about business and marketing, I developed a marketing plan and I started marketing myself on social media and also in Psychology Today. And to my surprise, I had over 150 people on my wait list, waiting for me
Mm.
even before I opened the doors to my private practice. So at that point, I decided that was no longer needed to be employed because I saw the possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I literally went from a solo provider to group practice in the same jump. There was no transition. I just saw the possibilities. And I understood that there are a few things that we have to do in order to grow, scale, and expand a private practice. Whether if you want to just provide psychotherapy, counseling services, psychiatric services, or you want to expand that into group, or if you want to stay solo and you want to do other things like write books, maybe you want to have courses, maybe you want to have a different business model that will allow you to serve one to many, right? You still need to have this formula, which I call the multi-million dollar private practice framework. All right. And you let me know if you have any questions, if anyone in the audience have any questions. But for me, the number one point, the number one key to scaling our private practice to the next level is we have to develop a $1 million business mindset, because you know that mindset is everything, right? Mindset, the way we think about things, the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves in the world is how we're going to operate in the world. And unfortunately, business requires business strategy, business training, and it requires us to have a business mindset. What does that mean? We need to change the way we think. We need to stop thinking that we are just therapists. I just have a small private practice. I am just trying to serve and help. And we forget that businesses, although our big purpose and our big vision is to serve more people, when it comes to business, we also need to think as business owners. We need to leave the therapeutic chair for a little bit, and we have to become the CEO of our businesses. And what I find to be true for my clients and the therapists that I know is that we think that the therapeutic chair is going to get us through $1 million
Mm.
business. That being a good therapist and having all the skills to be a great therapist is all we need to get to the next level. And unfortunately, that is not true. We need to have the mindset of a person that instead of working inside of our business, we need to work on our business. And you may say, Soribel, what does that mean, right? I am working in my business. I'm doing everything that it takes. Well, that's part of the issue. That our mindset that we have as therapy is, how do I do these things? How do I do billing? How do I do credentialing? How do I become the CPA? How do I do my taxes at the end of the year? How do I do my finances in my business? And we get so stuck up in the how of things, and we forget that we need to focus on who is going to be doing these things. And if you don't learn anything from what I'm telling you today, you need to learn that it's not the how, but the who.
Huh.
Who do you need in your private practice besides the obvious, which are therapists, right? Right? To duplicate the
Right.
work. Who do we need? We need a real CPA. You are not an accountant. Give it up. It's not that serious. You're not an accountant. You are not an HR expert. You are not a biller. Oh, well, sorry, Belle, I learned all about billing. I spent 15 hours learning about business. Well, about billing. Well, what happens is that instead of you being the CEO of your business, you are continuously working in your business and doing things that you were not called to do. You were not called to be a biller. Otherwise, you would have been going to billing school
Mm.
or credentialing. We need to identify who are the people who are going to join us in this amazing journey. The CPA, the HR expert, the who's going to do our payroll, who's going to do billing, who's going to do credentialing, who are going to be the who's going to be administrators, right? Who is going
Mhm.
to do the IT work? And then what happens is that we are so focused on doing all those things and learning how to get it done that we miss the opportunity to become the CEO. And the CEO of a company does not do everything. The CEO job is to identify the
Mhm.
who so we can create the what and then create that journey, right, in the process. So that's one of the biggest issues that I see.
Ah, thank you so much, Sorabel, for just putting that out there, because I think that is one of the biggest hurdles, right? I think we all want to grow, we all want to expand, we all want to help more people as therapists, but even myself, right, included, like starting a part-time private practice and still trying to wear the full-time 9 to 5 agency hat, and then trying to scale something on the side is a challenge, right? It's a legitimate challenge, especially if you don't have any kind of seed money, where you can start the hires. And then
Yeah,
that begs the question, like you were saying, if we want to work on the business and not in the business, we have to delegate. Well, if we're going to delegate, then that begs the question, assuming even if we had the seed money, who would be the number one hire? Who's the number two hire? So when
that's
we're
right.
talking about, it's not the the how, but the who. But who do we start with? Right? Would
Yeah,
be my question.
yeah. Who's going to help us fulfill our purpose, our vision, and our
Hmm.
mission in life? And here's the thing. When I started, I didn't have any money. And I was a single mom of a son. A few years earlier, I went through brain surgery. I spent all my savings being at home a year plus without being able to work prior to the surgery. So I can tell you I didn't have any money. So because I didn't have any money, I couldn't have a physical office. So what I did was I turned my car into an office and I started providing in-home services.
Wow.
That's how I started. I really went fully telehealth in office after, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have money. But I knew that in order for me to scale and grow, I needed to identify the who were going to be the people that were going to help me to the next level. And that's when I identified having an administrator. She was only doing like 5 hours a week, to be honest with you, 3 to 5 hours a week, because that's all I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a biller from the get-go, and I was just paying for whatever billing I was doing at a time. People think that they need to start big. People think that they need to start with someone that's full-time. No, you can start with somebody that can fulfill 2, 3, 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, right? And then we grow and we scale as needed. So I identify hiring right away because there was too many people on the wait list and I was not going to see 150 clients, right?
Right.
Then I hired a billing company. I had an administrator, right? Actually, after I had that administrator, she left, and what I did is I hired a company that will do the phone call, answering the calls 24/7, right?
Oh, that's got to be a
Until
huge get
yes,
time as
it's
far as like getting time back, right? Because that's one of the hugest time sucks as a therapist is the scheduling, the rescheduling, the following up, the da da da, and
yeah,
you don't realize it, but that it's like
that is.
death by a thousand cuts, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
then I had someone doing the scheduling, all the things, and I had the company answering the phones. And then after that, then I hired someone else. I say this to say this. You don't need to have everything perfectly set up in order to begin scaling. What you do need to have is the right mindset. It's thinking the right thoughts. It is feeling the right way, and it's taking making the decision and taking the actions that are in alignment of growing and scaling,
I love it.
right? So we
Yes.
want to scale, but we're thinking small. We want
Mhm.
to grow, but we're afraid. We want to grow, but we allow everything to overwhelm us because we want to do everything solo, alone. And you can never build a legacy by yourself. You need to build a legacy with a team. And a team requires the who, not the how.
Mm.
Because you will spend a lot of time learning how to do something when someone else has been taught and trained and has the experience and was called to do the work already. So we miss out in those opportunities.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Absolutely. Where do you find that most therapists, clinicians, business owners, where do they struggle when they start this journey of building the team? Like, what are the most common pitfalls, and where do you try and steer people away from hardship in this area?
One of the things is that I find is people wanting control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Quite often, therapists feel that the best therapist is them. That no one can serve clients the way they do, that no
Mm-hmm.
one can do the way that they do it, that people can answer the phone the way that they will answer the phone, that they can do the finances. You see, it's this idea that we have to do everything and that we have to take care of everyone else. And what happens is we get burnt out quickly. This is the reason why therapists don't last in business, because instead of finding the who's, we are doing the work, right? So, in terms of building a really solid $1 million team, one of the things that we have to have is systems and support in place. We need to have a hiring process in place. And those are some of the things that I share inside of my book, right? What is your hiring process? What is your framework? Right? What is your onboarding process? Right? Do you have an onboarding process for your clients? Do you have an
Mm-hmm.
onboarding process for your employees or independent contractors? Do you have a process that allows you to have a system in place and give it to someone so they can continue to implement the same system that you have created, and then we can adjust as we grow? Because listen, I didn't start here. I started
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning when I was using paper to do the the referrals, or I was, we were using a notebook to capture people information. We're no longer doing that. Now we have Keep, which is a system where we can manage all of our clients. We can
Hmm.
email them, we can test them, we can provide them with weekly blogs and articles to teach them and to continue to provide them self-development tools, right? So having systems and support in place allows you to grow faster because you are releasing some of that control, and then you can focus on your genius mind of being a CEO of your business.
Oh, that's well said. Well said. And you think about SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? And that's scary, right? Because, like you said, if we want to pass the torch to someone else, I think the scariest thing for me even would be, what if I hire the wrong person? What if I say yes to this person, but this person over here would have been a better fit? What if I hire this person to do like the phone screenings, right? But what I really would have been a better use of my money was maybe somebody to handle my marketing, right? Or maybe I should have hired another therapist. Like that's where I think I would get stuck. Just figuring out, okay, getting past the fear. And what if I do this wrong? I need to have it all figured out before I pull the trigger. And what if I make the wrong choice? Right?
If you made the wrong choice, you made the wrong choice. What do you tell
Yeah.
your children when they're learning how to ride the bike?
Mm.
Oh, you made the wrong choice. Now you can never in your life ride a bike.
Right.
We
Right.
don't. We tell them, no, you get up, you keep on going, let's try again. You know how many times I have hired the wrong people?
Mm.
I just hired a market manager. She was the wrong person. But we have two choices here. We can either sit on the dirty chair of feeling bad that we made a bad choice, right? Because people
Mm.
tell you what you want them. They tell you what you want to hear, and
Mm-hmm.
then once they start doing the work, you recognize who the person is. But this is why there's hiring and there's firing, right? That
Right.
if a hire didn't go well, what we do is we eliminate them because they're not a good fit for the company's values and for the company's goals, right? So I have hired therapists that didn't work out. I have hired administrators that have not worked out. Now we can either sit on the chair of shame and fear and overwhelm and we didn't do a good job, or we can bounce back like a ball, right? we,
Mm-hmm.
we we recognize that, well, next time I need to do this differently because that didn't work. You bounce back from that dirty share, and then you come over here and you hire again. And I have an
Uh,
interview tonight again, hiring a market manager. I want someone out there on foot, going from providers to provider, to organizations, to companies, talking about our services, right? Because
yeah.
that is a strategy that works. Traditional marketing works, right?
Oh, absolutely. Isn't that where the biggest expenses for businesses is marketing and ad
It's
spend?
marketing.
Yeah. Gotta get the
And
word out, right?
talking about
Yeah.
marketing, we therapists get afraid about marketing
Oh,
because
right.
we think that word of mouth is the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
But word of mouth is not predictable. It's not. It's not. You don't know when somebody's going to open their mouth and tell somebody.
Right.
You cannot. You cannot
Yeah.
control the results. But if you have a good marketing plan and a strategy that works and that you can predict, it's easier. Your money is well spent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want the listener to understand that there's things that we're going to do that are not going to work out. There are therapists out there that are really bad apples. They're not just about apples, they're rotten. That's the reality. I
Mm-hmm.
have hired people that, let me tell you something, I'll be like, who gave them this degree? Who gave them this license, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that there are more apples available out there. There are great apples that we can have in our business that is in alignment with our values and what we're trying to do in the community. So it's all about the mindset, right? If you go in this thinking that it's not going to work, I'm not good enough, and not wanting to invest in learning how to do business. This is a big thing with private practice owners. They want $1 million practice, but they don't want to invest in creating $1 million practice.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's having skin in the game, making the scary choices, informed decisions. That's why we hire coaches, right?
That's right.
But
So I'm a
but
who to someone that wants to
yes.
increase, and I become, and there's somebody else that is the who of who I need. Like when I hire my marketing operational officer to oversee all my marketing, because I want to have a marketing team that just focuses on this particular area of my business. It's scary, but I need him because he knows things that I don't know, and I'm not going to go back to school to learn them.
It's funny when you were talking about that earlier that we don't learn business, and I mean you have your MBA, obviously,
Yes.
but a lot of the time I mean, so most of the time as we're kind of shoestringing things together, we're learning how to be the marketer, we're learning how to be the receptionist, we're learning how to be the biller, right? Especially as we're branching out into private practice and it's very part-time. It's a huge mental shift, and it takes a lot of mental RAM and energy and time to learn to get past the learning curve on a lot of these things where it gets into like a systemized process. Even just learning an EHR, right? I've used probably five, and they're all a little bit different. There's a learning curve to all of them, and whether you're going to do a solo or you're going to go through referral agency for your work, I mean, there's just so many different aspects to it. And so,
This is
is
why it's so important
yeah.
to identify the who, right?
Hmm.
Who I don't need to know everything about billing. I do not. No. I
Hmm.
need to find the person that has the ethics,
Hmm.
the ethical backgrounds, that's going to act legally correct, that knows what they're doing, and that the practice is billing every single day. Every single day, my practice is billing. So we can have consistent revenue coming in so everyone can get paid biweekly. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It will take
Yeah.
me a long time to learn billing, trust me. That
Right.
will deceive the purpose of me being in business if I
Yeah.
have to
People
go.
people get paid on time, they won't last very long.
Of course, because everybody
Yeah.
has to take care of their families,
Right.
right? Everybody wants to take care of their families. And this is what we're here to offer, that we can provide job opportunities to those that want it, and that we have the knowledge, then enough knowledge to be able to know what needs to be in place in the business so people can get paid every other week or whatever the promise is, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is that you want to do with your business model.
And that begs the question, is there a particular model that works best when we're trying to scale a practice? And I'm assuming it would have to be a group practice or no? Is there different ways to scale?
You can scale as a solo provider. However, if you want to make $1 million, your business model need to provide different type of services. Because one to one, you're not going to make $1 million in a year. It needs to be one to many.
Hmm.
Books, courses, coaching program, group therapy, whatever it is, right? You can do, if you specialize with couples, you can do retreats, you
Ah.
can do women retreats, you can do seminars, you can do so many other things, right? You can be a speaker, right? You can write
Hmm.
books, you can do different things to diversify your business model, right? What I don't think people understand is that doing one-to-one, one-on-one therapy sessions every day, even if you work 365 days a year, you're not going to make $1 million.
Hmm.
Or you can go into groups where you hire other people, other therapists that can do what you do and you duplicate. For example, think about McDonald's. For example, I've been to McDonald's in different countries. They have the same system.
Hmm.
They do the same thing over and over. There may be cultural tricks to the food,
Hmm.
maybe.
Hmm.
I've seen it. But it's the same way. It's the same McDonald's. They serve the fries the same way. They take your order the same way, right? So can you imagine? McDonald's couldn't just go. The person that found the McDonald's can't go to every McDonald's and do it himself, right? He needs
Hmm.
to train people to do what he knows that works. So we need to duplicate us in other people, and we need to be able to think about what other services we can provide our clients so they can stay here. For example,
Mm-hmm.
when I was ready to scale even more, I survey my clients and I asked my clients what else did they need it. They tell me we need psychiatric services and medication management. We put that in
Makes
place.
sense. Yeah.
We want books from you. We put that in place. We want courses and we want seminars and we want workshops and we want these things. That came. We want you to do, and then people who were therapists that wanted to know how I was doing what I was doing and they wanted me to teach them, and that's what I'm doing. They wanted immigration evaluation services. That's what I'm doing. They wanted marijuana evaluations. We were doing that at some point when we had a provider, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see how my practice is not just what Soribel can do. My
Right.
practice have different specialties with different type of therapists who are serving the community in a big way.
In a specific way, rather than build it and they will come. It's more like ask and then build.
Yes. So, for example, when I
Right.
started my psychotherapy and counseling services.com, that's our website, we didn't start with those specialty pages. You can go to, if you want, to psychotherapy and counseling services.com. We didn't start with all those specialty pages. We began with depression. And then I
Mm-hmm.
hired someone that specialized in anxiety. And then, and we also do autism evaluations for children. So then I found someone that did evaluations and she does evaluation for us. And then we have that page up, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just throwing balls on the wall to see what's going to stick, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
spaghetti to see if it's cooked or not. I have a system in place that when I'm hiring people, I am
Mm-hmm.
specifically looking for people that can do, if you go to the top, or you can go to the bottom too.
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom, it's going to tell you all the other services we
Oh,
offer.
yeah.
Yeah. So you see, we do online therapy, sex therapy, immigration evaluations, right? Men therapy, grief,
Mm-hmm.
the LGBTQI community,
Yes.
therapy for parents, trauma therapy. You see what I'm saying? It is
Absolutely.
very specific to the needs of the community.
Mm-hmm.
We have providers for all of those
How
services.
fantastic, and how I think even having a friendly UI, user interface for your consumers is huge, right? It's really important. The
Yes.
less friction, the less work they have to do to get their needs met, right?
Yeah. So our specialty pages were created with the goal to educate the community.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a website that was the educational hub. From the time they hit the homepage to the time they leave, we blog every single week where they have blogs where we educate the community and the therapists with tools that they can pass on to the clients, right?
Mm-hmm. With that, do you have your individual therapists kind of pitching in with the content creation, or how do you manage that beast? Because that's a whole thing in itself.
We have the who's. We have a team. We have a team that takes care of the blogging, and it's not necessarily the therapist. They're not the
Gotcha.
therapists, but we have a team that writes the specialty pages, that write blogs every week.
Mm-hmm.
We have a team that sends the blogs every week to the clients and the therapists with
Gotcha.
Keep. Because we utilize Keep, and then we have an EMRs, two different systems.
Oh,
But we
okay.
want communication constantly with our
Mm-hmm.
clients. It's a system that allows us to have communication and allows me to see what's going on in the practice. Because if a client calls me and says, "I call your practice 20 times and nobody ever responds to me,"
Oh, that's not what a business owner wants to hear.
well, I have a system in place.
Yeah.
So I will call or send a message to my administrator and I will say, "Hey, Delilah, this person called and has not received a message." She will send me back a report and says, "This person called this time, this time, this time, this time, this time. Look at my message here, 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 here." And then I can contact the client and say, "Hey, you did receive a message on this day and this time. Please double check on your email." And it's
Mm-hmm.
always, they received
Right.
it, they didn't see it, they forgot. But it's easier to say that they call us 20 times and
Right.
nobody attended to them, right?
Of
So
course.
you have to have systems that allows you the free time that you are not constantly working in the business, but rather being a CEO where you monitor the business.
Mm-hmm.
and you need to have people to do the work. So in our case, we have Delilah that does a wonderful job, right? And as we grow and continue to grow, we're going to continue to add team members to help us scale even bigger, because that is the goal.
Right. Well, it makes sense. Like you said, it's that would be a lot for the, and that's where my mind went to, right? Is a course, right? Thinking a
Yeah,
one-man show that, have the therapists take turns writing blogs. No, that's not the most effective way. You have a
I
dedicated
wouldn't.
team.
I
Right.
wouldn't do that. That's not
But
attractive for
yeah.
a therapist. Why would I come and work with you and then have to write blogs too?
Right.
When I have a full time job, I have a family, and then I'm going to work part time in your practice. Why would I want to do all of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes
I
sense.
want them to focus on providing quality services to the client. Yes, it's an expense to the practice, but again, if can you imagine if I was working in the business, I wouldn't be able to be sitting with you right now. I would be seeing clients,
Right.
right?
In your experience, do you feel like it's more sensible if a therapist is going from solo to the group model? Do you feel like it's more sensible for them to try and scale telehealth or brick and mortar, like, or hybrid? What would be your perspective on that?
I would say it's a personal choice, but I would say why just offer one type of service when we have different services? For example, we have an in-home program,
Mm,
right? We provide in-home services at this time because we can you came back we came back from COVID, right? We can do telehealth, we can do home base, right? I already said that we can do school base, we can do telehealth, we can do in the office. And I'm looking into entering corporations where we provide a space to provide therapy for the employees, so they don't have to leave their office, or they don't have to
oh,
take
wow. That's
or go after.
fascinating.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying? It's
Yes.
about thinking like a CEO. What is
Yeah.
the next level service
Level.
that I can provide, right?
And
For
that
my
makes perfect
client.
sense because companies have EAP programs.
They do.
How much would they love just to have a dedicated space on
Yes.
site?
Actually, I
That's
am launching
fascinating.
a EAP
Yeah.
program in the spring. We are launching a national EAP program, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't have to, so they say, be just therapists.
Mm-hmm.
We can be a therapist, a CEO, and we can contribute to the community in a huge way that positions us as leader, not just, oh, I'm a therapist. Well, yes, we're therapists, but what else can we do? What else can we offer to the community?
Right. And just that's right in stride too with social work ethics, right?
Yes.
You know, macro, micro, meso, hit it all, right?
Hit it all,
Yeah.
because we can. Who says that we only have to be confined to a particular model? There's no rules. We set the rules because we were the one that were called to do this
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
So having we having a case management program soon, and like we are providing our clients, because can you imagine? You work really hard in your practice, you grow in your practice, and every time you need a psychiatrist or an APRA, you have to send a referral somewhere else when you can leave that referral right there in your
Mm-hmm.
practice.
Mm-hmm.
If they need, let's say, group therapy, you have to find another place that's doing group therapy. Why can't you provide it right there in your practice? You see what I'm saying?
I
If we
do.
need case management, why look for case management program somewhere when we can create our case management program? There's so many ways that we can scale and grow that doesn't have to be just psychotherapy and counseling services.
Gotcha. Absolutely. And yeah, to your point, I mean, you're doing it all. You've got the coaching, you've got the books, you've got the business, and so you're a wealth of experience on all fronts. Sounds like. So
Yeah. I've done
you're
all the services in the community. I've
yes,
done in-home,
yeah,
outpatient, inpatient, 211, all the services. So I think that we should have a model that really hits the different needs of the community, because some may need in home, but maybe somebody is professional who works until 7 o'clock p.m. They may need therapy, but they don't have the time. What about if we bring those services to the corporations so we can improve their ability to be better employees?
indeed, indeed. I love it. I'm sure that'll do well. No doubt, no doubt at
And
all.
we're working on
And
it.
of course, the the business part of my brain is like, well, how do you even start that conversation with the corporations? How do you, is that like a business proposal? I mean, all of these things, even from the hiring of the primary staff, like, does it one therapist, then psychiatrist, then two more therapists, and then HR? Like, is there a hierarchy to the
I think that
process?
the first thing we have to do is create a survey and survey our clients to see
Mm-hmm.
what our clients need. What do
Gotcha.
they desire from us? And
Mm-hmm.
then you take it from there. In terms of the corporations and the other type of services that we want to bring, high level services, I have a marketing operating officer, and
Oh,
he will do the work
gotcha.
to
Again,
start those
I'm not trying to wear another
conversations.
hat.
But that's again, it's
Yeah.
not how. I
It's
know what
who.
I want. My vision
Right.
is this,
See,
right?
that's where my mind keeps going. I'm like, well, how do I write a business proposal? I don't have to write it.
That's because you're thinking how.
Right.
You're not thinking who can do
Right.
the business proposal. Who needs to do the marketing plan? It doesn't have to be me.
It sounds so easy, right? The mental shift, but it's not.
It's
It's
not
not.
easy if you are not constantly developing your mind and
Mm-hmm.
reprogramming your mind, reprogramming the DNA. Our DNA says that if we choose to be in the helping professional, we're supposed to be poor and we are supposed to be doing the small things because that's what we
Mm-hmm.
were taught. But that's not true. And part of the problem is that mental health providers, not just therapists, psychiatrists, doctors, we have this mindset of who and what or how do I need to do it, not the mindset of who needs to do it for me. We
Mm-hmm.
want to have control over everything. We want to do everything ourselves. And this is why you're burnt out because it's impossible for you to run a corporation, a company, a business doing every single task.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think that's sometimes slowing down to speed up, right? How do we slow down and start thinking about the next steps? How do we start delegating slowly so that we can get more time back to focus on the business and business growth, right?
And we
That's
need
a
to
hard
read the
thing.
books.
Yeah.
We need to go to the conferences. We need to go to workshops. We need to develop ourselves, and we don't need that skills anymore. No more, and that nobody taught us. We have to get out of that chair of comfort and get uncomfortable, and really give ourselves the opportunity to create exactly what we desire.
Yeah. Giving ourselves the love, the self compassion, the permission
That's right.
to
Yeah.
do that,
Like you
right?
feel afraid, be
Yeah.
afraid. I tell my clients, I was just on the
Yeah.
phone with a client that she was like, I am so afraid to do this, right? She does wellness services,
Mm-hmm.
and she's afraid to, with the program that we created. I say, feel the feelings of your fear, honor your fears. Now what are you going to do with the fear? You're going to let the fear overtake your vision and your purpose, or you're going to honor your fear, be compassionate with yourself, but then you bounce back and you keep on doing it, afraid or not.
That's
Because
right.
you're always going to be afraid. I get
Do it
afraid every
scared.
day,
Yeah.
every single day. Trust me, I have a seminar coming in May. It's a 3-day seminar, and then I'm going to do the celebration of my book launch. And honestly, you don't think I'm afraid to put all this money up front without even selling tickets yet,
Mm.
right? I am afraid. No, we're going to get it done
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless, because
Right.
that's what I decided that I was going to do. So I manage my emotions, right? I self-regulate, and then I decide to just keep on moving.
Right. Stick to the plan.
And
Right.
stick to the plan.
Well, thank you so much, Soribel. It's just amazing the wealth that you've shared with us today. It just, I know we could keep going for hours and hours, and
Oh yeah.
that's where coaching comes in.
Yes. Yes.
So I appreciate it. Again, if our audience wants to dive deeper with you, they have a lot of options. They can check out your website, your
Yes.
business coaching website. They can check out your new book coming out. Get the early sign up now. And then, of course, there's your therapy practice. If somebody wants to get an idea of what a robust practice looks like, they have a great model right here.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I tie up everything in the show notes for those listening, watching.
So stop right
So,
there. Stop
mhm,
right there in the video. I want to tell you a little quick story about the video. Look at the
please.
video. Go down.
Uh-huh.
Go down a little bit. Right there, the video.
Uh-huh.
When I first started in my private practice, I didn't feel so comfortable in doing video. So I was not going to learn how to do it. I found a who. And this woman, she's bilingual because my website is in Spanish and English,
Hmm.
right? And she did the video for the website. There you go.
Oh, excellent. So you don't even have to be the face of your
I back
whatever, yeah.
then when I started, I was just not gonna do that video, but she did.
Right. And I know you're comfortable with video now because I see you on LinkedIn all the time doing lives. So,
Yeah, I am
yeah,
now, but back then I wasn't. So I found the who, and there she goes.
excellent. So there's always somebody. It's just where are they and who's next in line,
That's
right?
right.
Who's the next pick, right?
That's
For
the
drafting,
attitude.
right?
Yes.
Not that I'm into fantasy football or anything, but if you had your fantasy team, right? For business, what would it look like? Who can you draft? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a
Thank you.
privilege. You're always welcome back on if you want to, your book launch rolls around, feel free, to jump on and share the wonderful work you're doing and your next business endeavors. And again, just appreciate you.
Yeah. Contact me. I'm here everywhere. Soribel Martinez, soribelmartinez.com. If you want to pre-order the multi-million dollar private practice book, you go to mmdppbook.com, and there's $1,000 of bonuses if you pre-order.
That's fantastic. Sounds like a win-win to me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You have a fantastic week.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.